everyone. We must apologize for the technical difficulties you've been experiencing, but we are back in action and ready to start over and spend the morning with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is a very special day for CANSA, not only for us as an organization, but around the world. It is International Volunteers Day. And this is a day where CANSA is so proud of the many volunteers we have in the organization that are making the most incredible difference every day, as well as the fact that there are new volunteers possibly joining today, new people that could be inspired. And we hope that you'd love to take hands with us and also be part of this wonderful organization. I would just like to take the time to introduce you to our CEO, Elise Joubert. She has been serving this organization for the last 30 years, and we know the commitment she has to us, as well as the passion that she has to drive this organization forward. She's also a social worker and extremely passionate about the work we do on ground level and the way we serve patients. She's also won numerous awards in civil society for her role as a woman that's taken the lead of an organization and turned the ship around. Elise, thank you so much for your time this morning, and I'd just like to introduce you to everyone and welcome here this morning.
Thank you, Cara. Good morning to all our CANSA friends, our guests, our participants and presenters. As Cara mentioned, today is really a very, very special day, International Volunteers Day. And CANSA annually takes this opportunity to celebrate our incredible volunteers. CANSA has been a volunteer-driven organization since our inception for nearly 90 years now. And if it was not for the hard work and the dedication of our volunteers, we would not have been able to deliver on our mission of care and support and educating our public. And it's all due to the generosity of volunteers who give their time, their talents, and be there to help us in this fight against cancer. And today, whilst we're hosting this event, we want to present to you all the various opportunities for the public to become involved as a volunteer. As Cara's mentioned, we hope that those who are joining us today and listening to all that's going to be presented, if you're already a volunteer, I think you will be very, very proud to know that you are making that difference in your community in the fight against cancer. But those who are still considering, I believe that after today, you will be inspired to come and offer yourself as a volunteer. Especially during this very tough 2020, when COVID entered our lives. We are so appreciative towards all our volunteers. CANSA's normal ways of operating was limited due to COVID. And it was our volunteers who were the faces and the voices of CANSA in their various communities, being there for those on their journey with cancer and who were greatly challenged this year due to the COVID epidemic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also so grateful for our volunteers who raised funds during this year. We couldn't do our fundraising in a normal way through our events, but it's our volunteers who stepped up to those challenges, and they have helped CANSA to be sustainable through this trying times through their efforts. Therefore, our greatest appreciation and gratitude to all our volunteers. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that you will enjoy today, and may I then just wish you all the good wishes for this festive season. May you all be blessed. May you just take care and stay safe, and may 2021 be a very, very prosperous year for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elise. We do really appreciate your time this morning. Many people ask us, what are our volunteers actually doing? And we've put together a fantastic video. We have some of our most passionate and oldest volunteers that have come together and have shared why they volunteer and what it means to them. Please, if you'll see this video, you must share it online, and hopefully you can encourage and inspire others, and hopefully yourself as well, to take hands with us and join the fight against cancer. Enjoy.
Kanker is 'n eensame siekte.
I was diagnosed 10 years ago with breast cancer.
Ek is in 1988 gediagnoseer met kanker.
I wasn't part of any support group at the time. I did not feel that I was ready to attend a support group.
Dit was vir my baie traumaties. Ek het heeltemal in ontkenning gewees daaroor.
People don't easily talk about cancer. Very much still a hidden subject.
One of the things that kills people is ignorance. They still don't understand what is going on. The only way we can reach out to as many people as possible is if we get as many volunteers as possible.
The Cancer Association of South Africa welcomes volunteers of all ages, all sizes, all cultures. The incidence of cancer is rising, so we need more volunteers to get involved.
Sometimes you can't change the situation, but making somebody smile even if they are in their worst, it makes me happy inside, let me just say so.
Elke mens het sekere behoefte daaraan om gehê te wil word, né? So as jy gehê wil word, moet jy jouself kan gee.
Many of our cancer survivors want to give back. They want to get involved.
Ek dink daar's nie 'n beter manier om jouself te gee as om vir iemand anders iets te beteken nie.
The journey that I've went through could be of assistance and guidance to others. I can relate to that, I can empathize with them, and also provide them with the opportunity to join a support group. Successful support group is when members say they actually feel they belong to a family. And they share their stories, and we laugh and we cry.
You get to meet different kinds of patients every time. You get those ones who are withdrawn, who don't want to talk. You get those ones who just want you to listen.
Dis vir my baie lekker om as ek by 'n pasiënt kom en hulle is bly om my te sien. Dan weet ek beteken vir hulle iets.
I think there's a definite need for volunteers.
There is a lot that needs to be done.
And we particularly welcome volunteers that will help raise funds. We cannot provide the service, the care and support that we do without raising extra funds. A lot of our volunteers get involved with our Cancer Shave-a-thon, or they get involved with Cancer Relay for Life. If you are keen on running or cycling, you can get involved with our Cancer Active program. And there's a lot of skills transfer. There's a lot of training and development that we provide for volunteers. And we'll be able to provide more screening to the public out there, which means that we're going to be lowering the risk of cancer.
It feels good because you're doing it from the heart.
En waar daar kindertjies betrokke is, daai ouers het baie ondersteuning nodig. Hulle besef hulle gaan hulle kind verloor. So as daar nie volonteërs is om hulle te help nie, hoe gaan hulle regkom?
It gives you the confidence to actually say to the community, I can give something back. And it makes all the difference.
The next part of our program, we're so excited to have a round table, and that is basically a great discussion among some great minds. And we have some wonderful volunteers that have joined us this morning in different capacities. And this wonderful conversation will be managed by the wonderful Brenda Kubega. She is a member of CANSA's Social and Ethics Committee, as well as the co-founder and ethics and risk lead at Health IQ Consulting. She also has a social interest in management and ethics of media and medicine, and also is here today volunteering her time. I think that's also really important to know, because volunteering happens in many different shapes and forms. And having Dr. Brenda here sharing her time this morning, facilitating this conversation, is just another example of how people from all walks of life are coming together to help cancer make a difference. So I'm going to hand over to Brenda to introduce her panel to you, and enjoy the conversation. We'd love to hear some feedback from you afterwards. Thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you, Cara, for the introduction. And I'm quite excited this morning for the discussion that you're going to have with the two panelists who are volunteers at CANSA. And the roundtable is basically about discussing the gift of volunteering and how people can get involved as volunteers at CANSA. At the same time, we want to celebrate all the volunteers for the contribution that they're making in the fight against cancer. 2020, today it's International Volunteer Day, and 2020's theme is Together We Can Through Volunteering. And we hope that you'll get more people offering their time and other gifts to get involved in fighting against cancer. So the two panelists that I'm going to introduce now is the first one is Naniki Siboni, who is a go-to cancer chick and a beloved #cancer unicorn. She is a creative artist by profession, having starred in Mzansi Magic movies, had a short stint on radio, and a campaign model for brands like Nedbank and Revlon through her role as CanSurvive ambassador. And our second panelist is Rian Lobster. He is a co-owner and a principal at Unigrad College. He completed his MBA a couple of years ago, and interestingly, he also performs as a mentalist. On the sideline, he arranges events and manages the backstage for various shows. He's done volunteering work for 18 years and has been involved with CANSA as a volunteer for 15 years. So please join us in this conversation about volunteering, and let us celebrate them, and also hoping that we'll answer the questions that people interested in getting involved have. So Naniki, you are a young creative, and I assume most people will ask themselves, how did you get involved as a volunteer at CANSA?
Hi, Brenda, and hello to everybody that's tuned in and watching us and listening to us. My interaction and partnership and volunteer services with cancer was brought on because I am a malignant melanoma, which is skin cancer. I am a survivor. And I remember when I was diagnosed, I found myself really, really battling and trying to understand and comprehend truly what does cancer mean for my life. And I reached out to cancer because who doesn't know about cancer, right? So I reached out to them, and I was pleasantly surprised by the direction and the support that I got from the organization. So, the group that I came in contact with was the Cancer Champions of Hope group. And there were these fantastic people in the group who are survivors and supporters and people who are just full of love. And I thought to myself, after I was finally, cleared and I was cancer free, I thought, now, how do I do what they did for me? How do I get involved? Because clearly there is a need for cancer patients, to get a support system. And I thought I need to go back to cancer. And lo and behold, I've been, volunteering for cancer for the past 4 years, and I'm never looking back. I can only go forward from this point onwards.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. If I may ask, if you share your story, what is the kind of feedback that you get from people listening to your story?
I think a lot of the feedback that I get also speaks to my personal experience with skin cancer. Because when the doctors told me I have skin cancer, my brain went into a "but I'm Black" type of mode, because you don't really hear about Black people having skin cancer. So generally I get the very same reaction when I'm speaking. So that in itself already tells me that there is a bit of a gap, in our knowledge about skin cancer. So why not be the link? Why not, bridge the gap for people to really understand what skin cancer is? Because for me, I've always seen it as a white people disease. And, here I was, a young Black girl with this disease, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So there's a lot of humor to it at the same time, and we just bust the misconceptions about cancer, bust those myths, and we have fun. We listen to the story. I add jokes to it because we have to laugh and celebrate about this thing, and I'm just glad that I get to do it on the cancer platform.
That's wonderful. You are definitely showing the power of storytelling, and also making yourself vulnerable and sharing your stories, and a whole lot of people will learn a lot from that. Rian.
Hi.
Rian, yes. You are a co-founder of an organization. You are a principal, you manage events, your hands are full. How do you make time? And what do you do at CANSA as a volunteer?
So I'll start off with I work on what they call the Relay for Life program. And it's this amazing event that takes place in South Africa at over 80 venues in South Africa, where it just brings the community together, and it brings survivors together and families who's been affected by cancer. And we have one mission, and that is to share information about cancer as this disease that affects everyone, but also to share information about the organization CANSA and how people can get help. And to me, it's just an incredible event. And time-wise, you make time. I've learned over the years that as I make time to meet with my students, my clients, etc., I just schedule time, and I make sure that I know what needs to be done. It goes into my diary, and I make sure I do it.
Yeah. Thank you. You remind me of a cliche that if it's important, you will make time to do it. And I'm actually asking myself, how much time does one spend on nails and hair and makeup every month? And what would it take? I mean, to give up an hour and, and give back to humanity. Naniki, what would you say to someone who thinks they have nothing to offer as a volunteer to CANSA?
Oh my goodness. I think, everybody has their different skill sets, and that's what makes, humans such a, just wonderful, people, because everybody's skill set can be used, because there's different types of volunteering at CANSA. You have, your support system, your support groups. You have people like myself who use their stories to, create awareness. We need people who are going to be home-based with the patients as well. We need so many things. So find what is, your strength. Find what your goals and values are, and then align that with the different volunteer sections that are available at CANSA. So you can do truly anything, and just give your heart and give your passion, and just be a part of this cancer group.
Okay, that's quite interesting. I saw there is a young lady from Pietermaritzburg that volunteers her time by translating some of the material from English to Zulu. So the opportunities are endless. Yes. Rian, you have been volunteering for 18 years, which is quite long. Yes. I just want to find out, how has the experience, your giving, shaped your life, and how volunteering has impacted in your personal life?
Actually, a lot. And this question that you asked ties in with the answer Naniki just given. Firstly, a lot of people think when you volunteer, it also means that you're going to volunteer your money. And, volunteering isn't just about giving money, it's about giving time, your skills. But what was amazing is when I started volunteering 18 years ago, I was much younger. I still had to learn a lot of things. And by being on a volunteer committee, I learned from other people with different set skills. And now when I look back 18 years later, I've learned a lot of things through volunteering that I'm using in my business and my personal life now, which I didn't learn in the business itself. But I also could take skills from the business that I could add to the volunteer teams. So although I volunteer because I love it and I want to do it, I also have to be honest, it is beneficial both ways. I think I've gained and learned so much from others, as much as what I probably try and give.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. We are in an abnormal era with COVID, the pandemic, and people are wondering, how has COVID affected you as volunteers? This question I'm going to pose to firstly Naniki, and then Rian can follow.
You know, COVID has been a break of many boundaries, I think, for us in the cancer community, in the, you know, what do we call it, service community, because a lot of what we do as volunteers, and I think a lot of what I've always done is I've been in face-to-face situations with people, whether it's sitting with patients at the hospitals or whether I'm at a speaking event and I'm literally sitting with corporate people and we're engaging and discussing about cancer. And obviously, because of COVID, we were not able to do that. So I challenged myself in that same breath and I said, Nikki, you need to go online because everybody's going online to find entertainment, to find support. So I took to social media to continue with the cancer awareness that I was doing. And at the same time, using the very same platforms to, you know, continue sharing that the message of hope, to continue sharing, you know, my message about my story as well. Because what cancer then, you know, continued doing was to have the interviews on television and radio so that people understood that as patients who are going through, you know, their cancer treatments, they are affected by COVID because there was so much anxiety. I remember in the beginning, there was so much anxiety with cancer patients going to hospitals because now they're stopping with particular treatments and certain clinics and departments are not open. And it was scary for us because we need our follow-ups. We can't sit and miss 3 months, 4 months without getting your follow-up, you know? So it was really important for me to be able to be the voice that said, you know what, guys, you need to keep going because our lives can't stop because of COVID.
Thank you for sharing. Rian?
Yeah, for us, it was a similar thing. The Relay for Life event that I'm involved in is all about bringing the community together. And sometimes it would be a small group of 100 people, and sometimes we had thousands of people at these events. And going online was obviously one of our first things we had to do, but it was tough. We had to learn the skills. We all had to learn how to use Zoom and everything else. But I must say the volunteers who work on this program came together, and South Africa was the second country to host a virtual Cancer Relay for Life event. And we've also had volunteer training. We actually ran an online virtual summit so that we can share what we think would be best practices during this time. And people came up with amazing ideas on how to keep our survivors engaged with cancer through the Relay for Life program. And what's amazing now is we're starting to see how people are planning for next year and how they are embracing the current new normal and to continue. But having said all of this, and it sounds exciting that we managed to go online and we had great support online, it unfortunately didn't translate in all the funds that you would have raised in an event that would have been held in person. And that is where we need to not only get new volunteers in to join this amazing company, but it's also to get new volunteers in who probably also comes up with new ideas on how to maybe bring in new projects or take current projects and shape it so that in the future it will have the same educational impact, but also raise the funds needed by cancer to support their mission.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, that's quite interesting. In my world, we're saying that COVID-19 has actually accelerated digital transformation. So definitely it means there will be some new opportunities of getting involved as a volunteer virtually, maybe not necessarily physically, but virtually. And Naniki, do you see any new ways, I mean, the creative young Naniki, new ways of getting the young people involved and making it more interesting, whilst making sure that we are impactful? Yes.
I think, we've already started, in terms of the support groups. a lot of people who were themselves involved in support groups have now gone on to start their own support groups and having people really connect. And, you know, because we couldn't see each other. So these Zoom sessions have really helped for everybody to still be able to connect with each other. So, you know, the youth is crazy when it comes to social media and being online. And sometimes I feel like, I think I might be too old for this.
Never.
They move so quick sometimes, Ria. They move so quick, and I'm sometimes like left behind, like, oh no, there's a new trend. Nikki, get on quickly, you know? So we just, I think we just need to just keep going and keep supporting each other and just keep growing as a community, because we have to work together. We have to have the same goal and objectives together so that we can be stronger and better.
But I just want to add here, what I'm seeing those, and obviously I'm much older than you are, Nikki, but I'm seeing that the people I deal with across all the generations, people are adopting the technology because we are forced to do so, and we are getting better at it. And I've got a feeling that whichever way we're going to provide support in the future, hopefully again in person again, but also digitally, it's going to grow organically, and probably next year this time it's just going to be second nature for all of us, and it will bring the people together. And it raises a good point. People watching this today as volunteers, there's this opportunity that you don't necessarily have to be a volunteer to be at meetings in person, to go to the CANSA office, or even be at events. You can provide your services virtually. You can consult, you can share. And I think we need to embrace this as a form of volunteership as well.
Yeah.
Wow. No, great there, Rian. So this basically shows that there are so many ways people can actually get involved by sharing their stories and sharing their skills. And some of the work can be done at the comfort of their homes or their offices, and offer their, services, to CANSA, and assist in fighting cancer from different places and using different platforms. Naniki, this is quite wonderful. I mean, you sharing your story, you're young, and we know that young people, they're normally engaged, whether it's social media, they want to go out, do this, do that, and everything also costs money. And some are wondering if you are getting paid for being a volunteer at CANSA.
My goodness. Oh my gosh. You know what? I do get paid. My heart is filled with joy. My heart is filled with passion. That's payment enough. And you have to understand as well, this is almost a calling for me, because it was almost like an alignment for me, my spirit when I'm doing this work, I vibrate on the most highest level of love, and you can't ask for anything more than that. I remember when I got in contact with the Champions of Hope group, and the people who were in that group and how they supported me, there was no way anybody in that group could say, okay, Naniki, so we helped you through this, so you've got to give us like 100 Rand each. That would be crazy, right? So everybody just, you have to understand that this is something that would be perfect if you are a person who wants to give your time, give your heart, give your skill set, and just be open to receiving love and gratitude back.
Great. Rian, just sharing from your experience, I mean, you have been a volunteer for quite some time. What did it really take for you to step out of your shoes and help other people?
I saw a need in the community, and I really wanted to help. And I don't have the money to just give money to an organization, say, here's money, go and do it. But I knew I will make time, and I had some skills I could share. And it took a friend I live in a town called Nelspruit, and it took a friend of mine who invited me to a cancer event. She said to me, you're at a college, you've got a group of students, please enter a team and join this thing called the Cancer Relay for Life. I did. I'll be very honest, I didn't do much research beforehand, but on the day of the event, all of a sudden, the Relay for Life event connected me with my community and the survivors, the cancer community. And it did something. And I thought, here's something magical. This is special. And I didn't think about volunteering, but yet about a year later, this very same friend said to me, we need someone on the committee. It's now the second time we're running this event. She, in a way, in cancer, we say she voluntold me. She told me to be a volunteer. But because I've experienced it and I saw the change it made at that first event, I agreed. And what made me stay with cancer for so long is cancer definitely invests in us as volunteers. They have given us a lot of training. They've given us a lot of support. So I basically started off at my second event, literally sweeping the stage, making sure people who need to speak is there. So in Afrikaans, we sometimes say you're the skivvy. And I was the skivvy at the first relay that I was part of the committee. But through investing in me and them developing me, I eventually became co-chairperson. Then I was the chairperson for our event for many, many years. And I'm proud to say it was a big event. I became the chairperson eventually of the South African National Relay for Life Advisory Team. And I've been fortunate enough to now also work with relays all across the globe. And I've actually attended some relay training events in America. And I was fortunate enough to be asked to speak there. So to go back to what you asked, Naniki, about do volunteers get paid? I think I got paid through growth. And I didn't do it initially because I thought these things will happen. But when I look back at the journey, I've grown so much through what cancer has done for me as a volunteer. And that is, you can't put money to it. You can't put a salary. You can't put a donation to it. And I would like to ask people out there that if you think you can add anything, or even if you think you can learn something, join as a volunteer, because you are going to gain, I think, much more out of it than what cancer gets out of us as volunteers.
That is amazing, because more often than not, when we think of volunteering, we always think of giving. I mean, that's the primary objective, to give, but it's actually good to hear that at a personal level, there's also something that you gain back. I mean, even just, knowing that you touched someone's life, but also it sounds like there's also a developmental opportunity, because you interact with other people and you can grow through that. And maybe there could be other platforms like Rian, global opportunities for you to get exposed to others out there.
And then Brenda, I just want to add something. As I said, I was obviously much younger. I was in my 20s when I started helping out or volunteering for various organizations, and then 15 years ago for cancer. But because I have my own business, I understand from a business point of view, it's important that businesses are transparent. You put your money where your mouth is, that kind of thing. And now that I've also got business skills, one of the reasons I still remain a volunteer with cancer is, as an organization, they are transparent, because I often get the question from people, so what happens with the money? You organize these events for cancer, and we donate money and we raise money, and you give a big thank you at the end, but what happens to the money? And a lot of the people who supports the cancer events aren't cancer survivors or affected by cancer themselves, so they don't get to experience the services that cancer offers. And we need to tell them about it. And I, as a business person, are remaining a volunteer for cancer, because I know if someone ever questions the credibility of the organization, all of their financials are out in public to see, all of their reports, everything that the CEO shares, and they can see that this is an above board organization and not just a fly by night trying to grab some money off the side. And I think that's important for especially business people wanting to volunteer their services or their business services. Make contact with cancer, go get those documents, and you'll see how transparent and open they are. And you will see what happens to the money.
Thanks for highlighting that, more especially the issue of governance. And I want to echo that the governance structures are there. I sit in one of them, and transparency is there, and the values also of CANSA support ethical leadership as well, and business practices. Naniki, you are young. And
Yeah.
okay, let's say you look young. Yes. Can you share your experience with regards to the support that you received from CANSA? I'm just thinking of a young person out there that think they have something to offer, but they're actually scared and thinking, where do I start? And how can I do X or Y or Z? What kind of support is being provided to volunteers by CANSA?
You know, I've had support from CANSA really since the beginning of my journey. And oh goodness, help me. Whew. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I mean when I say that my heart is full. My heart is full, Brenda. And I say this, and I say this, and I will always say this till my dying day, that CANSA literally saved my life. When I was diagnosed, I lived in fear of every terrible thing you've ever heard about cancer. And I thought to myself, I'm going to die, you know? And it took me 6 months to get the courage to say that I'm going to fight this thing. And the support I got, and I'll always say this to her as well, that Lucy at CANSA was my lifeline. She was my lifeline. She put me in direct contact with the Champions of Hope group, and the people in that group were so phenomenal to me and kept encouraging me that, young one, you can fight this thing. We're 50, 60 years old and we beat this thing. There's no way you can't, you know? And I remember specifically, this was on a Friday, and literally after getting off my phone, I had to call my partner at the time, like, I need to go to the hospital on Monday because I need to be done with this cancer. I need to be done. I can't live in fear. I need to, get my strength back, get my, myself back to who I was. And dear goodness, if it wasn't for that interaction that I had with this organization, I don't know where my life would be right now. So I'll say it always and time again, that support is such an important structure for anybody going through any disease. And the support I got from this organization literally saved my life. So any young person, old person, whoever it is that needs somebody that they can reach out to virtually, of course, they can talk to somebody at CANSA, whether it's to the telecounseling line, whether it's on the Champions of Hope group, whichever way, you can get that support, and really you can find your strength and be able to beat this disease, because I wouldn't be able to do it without the help, without the encouragement. So go CANSA!
Oh, Nanika, thank you so much. You're such a superstar. And also appreciating you sharing your story and just putting a face to the work that is done by volunteers, and also to the team at CANSA, and a special mention to Lucy. And we really appreciate you sharing your story. And to those that are listening and those that are watching, here's the evidence. Naniki is laughing, standing and sitting, and whatever, life goes on because of the work from CANSA and because of the work of the volunteers, and also the donations from organizations and individuals that are supporting CANSA in fighting against cancer. Thank you for that. And Rion. A couple of people have been watching and listening to Naniki's story. And I want to believe that their hearts have been touched, and they are asking themselves, how do I join CANSA? And how do I prepare myself to volunteer my services, my time at CANSA? And what does it really take?
Yeah, it really doesn't take much. It's in the links there, in the comments boxes, there are links to contact telephone numbers. It's also as simple as going onto the Cancer Association of South Africa's website and making contact. And all you have to say is, I want to be a volunteer, and give them your telephone number, and someone will be in contact with you. And because CANSA is such a huge organization, and it's going back to what Naniki said in the beginning, you will definitely find a skill set where you could help this organization, where you can serve your community. And it's just a matter of making contact, and CANSA will tell you where you can be placed. And I think it's an invitation from my side. If anyone watching today have ever joined the Relay for Life program or just participated, I'm very happy if CANSA shares my contact details and someone wants to speak to me directly about that, because that's where my experience lies. And I can talk them through about all the pros and the pros of being a volunteer, because anything that you think might be a con just gets washed away when you see a story like this from Naniki, and you hear the journeys that people walk, and it's just incredible to be part of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Rian. And I just want to check with Lucy and Cara if there are any questions from the chat.
Nothing at the moment, Brenda, but I suggest you chat a little bit about Cara, and Cara can tell the process of how you can join as a volunteer.
Okay. Thank you. Cara, can you just tell us about the process that people can follow if they want to volunteer or join as volunteers at CANSA?
Yes, so I think one of the best things to do is actually just go online to www.cansa, that's cansa.org.za, and go to volunteering. You'll then find there's a form to fill in online, fill in all your details, where you're staying, what province you're from, etc. And then we will actually send you a link through that you could do the first phase of actually online training. And that's really an important place to start, especially for our service delivery volunteers. So as soon as you can decide there on that platform, would you like to be involved with service delivery or fund development, then we'll direct you in the right direction. You'll get contacted by the relevant department to chat with you, see how we can work together, and then they'll send you a link for training or arrange a session with you to meet you and then take it further from there. So yeah, it's as easy as that. It's www.cansa.org.za. And then you can also see a range of amazing services and documents and fact sheets of different kinds of cancers and materials and slideshows. And wow, we have a lot to offer on our website. Have a big cup of coffee and a nice, healthy bran muffin when you go through our website. Some also really good healthy lifestyle tips. So go on there to find out about the volunteering part of it. But there's also a wealth of information as well on various different topics that is just really very interesting and really just good to know. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Cara. I just want to say thank you to Naniki and Rian, and I'm sending you virtual hugs for availing yourselves this morning and for sharing your stories. And I'm really hoping that people that are interested in volunteering, they can actually see the value that volunteering has in the fight against cancer, and also what's in it for them personally when it comes to giving your time and what you get back as fulfillment, and also maybe some opportunities also to develop as a person because you engage with different people and different organizations. So thank you so much. Right now, I will give back and ask Cara to take over.
Thank you so much, Brenda, Naniki, and Rian. Oh, Naniki had me in tears. And yeah, we love a good cry at CANSA. I'm also a social worker, so yeah, we do a lot of crying with the good and the bad. So thank you so much for sharing, and for Rian as well. I think it's just such an incredible journey to think of 18 years of your life, or 16 years you've committed to us. We're just so blessed. And I know the incredible difference you've both made in so many different ways. And for Brenda as well, as a professional, it's so important we have all these different types of volunteers, because we need so many different types of volunteers to help us with all the different kinds of work we do as an organization. So thank you so much. Now we're going to get into a bit of the nitty-gritty. So basically we have 3 fantastic women in the organization. We have Cara Strauss, who is the head of service delivery programs in the organization. We have Maria Schultz, she is the head of fund development at CANSA, as well as one of our unit managers for the Western Cape, Dorothy Duploy. And basically we've asked them to come together and present to you in a lot more detail how you can actually get involved within the organization. What can you do? And for some people that want to know a little bit more, we know that Naniki and Rian have really shared in terms of details of what their experience was. But maybe you're wondering, what if I could do this, or what if I could do that? And this is where the next session is actually really important. I'd like to hand you over to the head of fund development.
Cara, thank you so much. And I must say, Naniki, Rian and Brenda, thank you very much for actually showcasing what we do, how we do it, and you all know we can't do it without you. I really feel inspired this morning to be a CANSA employee, and I have probably got one of the most incredible jobs in the world, not because of anything, but because of the fact that I can work with incredible individuals like yourselves, not only the Rians and Nikis and Brendas, but all of you that is in the communities and who I've had the honor to meet. Thank you for making us part of your lives and being part of this organization. But it is so important for us, as per the first slide, the sustainability of an organization. One cannot continue to fulfill its mission over time unless we have the right key stakeholders, the beneficiaries, and our supporters. Sustainability is definitely an ongoing process rather than just an end in itself. It is a process that involves the interaction between different strategic, organizational, programmatic, social, and financial elements. We all have to work together to be able to sustain this organization, sustain it in manpower, sustain it in finances, sustain it in the service offerings that we have. The financial sustainability is crucial for the long-term survival and the effectiveness of any NGO. And of course, we have to continue to look at the different sources of funds. We have to diversify. And as Rian mentioned, if you have that idea or that concept that can further enhance the care and support services that can serve an individual like Naniki, please reach out to us. We at CANSA, at the sustainability side, really focus on unrestricted funds. Traditionally, through voluntary donations from the local community, our general public, or untied contribution from businesses and foundations. Unrestricted means that you enable us to continue what we have to do, as you are not just asking for that income to be specific for one of our service offerings, but that we can ensure that we have got the Caras, that we have got the Gerdas, that we have got the Lucies, that we can support the day-to-day business of CANSA. Our structure is very simple. We have our executive committee, we have our operational part, and we've got our centralized functions. And under the operations, we have our service component and our sustainability component that works with your units or your community and with you, our loyal and dedicated volunteers. So when you ask me, Maria, how can I get involved? And we're waiting for all of those WhatsApps, SMSs, emails to flood in and say, I want to be part of CANSA. What can I do? Because we want to get you involved. For some of us, we want to be there and raise the funds. Sometimes it's very, very difficult for individuals to actually provide the emotional support. So let's look at CANSA fundraising projects. So CANSA currently has 4 national projects, and we're so proud of these projects because these projects are registered in our name. We have the trademark, we have the blueprint, and we have the volunteers and the staff that knows exactly how to roll this out. We also have CANSA special events. Those are events that are normally initiated by our volunteers in community-driven, but also in the community, and they understand what the needs are. And very important, and I think the previous presentation touched on it, the CANSA corporate relationship. Because CANSA doesn't just touch a family, it also touches our corporates. If you walk into your workplace on Monday, ask the question, and you will be surprised to find out how many individuals in your organization are affected by cancer, meaning either they have cancer, had cancer, or somebody in their family have got cancer. So let me start off and first of all thank all the Cancer Relay for Life volunteers. For 15 years, we have been relaying in South Africa, and we have taken hands with 30 other countries globally to celebrate, to remember, and to fight back. And I want to invite each and every one of you to come and serve on a Relay for Life committee in your community. And if your community is not relaying yet, come and ask us, and let's get that purple wave of hope to your community. There is so many opportunities, either on a main committee or on a subcommittee. And you can make that difference because your hands can assist us in ensuring that we celebrate, that we remember, and that we fight back. Just the next slide then. CANSA Shave-a-thon. I think many of you know CANSA Shave-a-thon. CANSA Shave-a-thon is that first week in March for all corporates, at the last weekend in February, when we all color, cut, shave, and donate. This is the opportunity if you are an individual who really don't have the time to be there for a long program, come on for that day. You know what? This is probably one of the most fulfilling days for a volunteer because at CANSA Shave-a-thon, we hear the stories, we see the tears. You can become the floor manager. That means help us to get them all on board, bring a group of volunteers on board, or just be a crew member for the day. You don't have to be very creative. Somehow, the moment you have that spray can in your hands, you become creative. We also need the emotional support at a shave-a-thon. So if you just want to be there and hold that hand of that daughter who is shaving her long hair because her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer or any other type of cancer, or a group of friends who want to come and shave on that day in memory of. Next slide, thank you. Kappa for Cancer. Become a hostess. What a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. You know, when things are not going good the day, we all say, let's go have a cup of coffee. Well, you can have coffee, tea, whatever you have. But it just means that we can sit down and share our stories. Be the initiator, be the platform for those stories by becoming a hostess, by hosting a Kappa for Cancer, inviting some friends, or be brave, be bold, and invite 1,000 women into one facility once the lockdown and all these restrictions are gone. But at this moment in time, in most places, start off by inviting 50% of the capacity of the venue that you can host it in. Next slide, thank you. And then, of course, CANSA Active. CANSA Active is actually our baby project. We've only been working on this for 5 years, but what a wonderful, wonderful initiative of CANSA. Feel good fun while you create awareness of healthy, active lifestyles. And we need you, not because you can run or jump or swim or cycle. We need you because we have to work at those expos. We have to be at the water points. We have to be at the event as marshals. You can make that difference if you are one of those fun athletic types that run, cycle, swim, play bowls, golf, cricket, anything that you do. Become an ambassador. Go and give and gain. Become a CANSA Active give and gain fundraiser for this organization. Through your sport, through your activity, you will make the difference. Next slide. We spoke about the CANSA corporate volunteers. Sorry, I'm one back. Special events. Sorry about that. Those events are events that pop up. Oh, we love this new word, pop up. Special events are run in communities by individuals who have such a wonderful passion to make a difference. They might not enjoy relay, shave-a-thon, kappa. They're not very active, but they have got an idea and they can share it with us. Because you know what, when you put this event on the calendar for our organization, you enhance our sustainable income lines. And people love doing things with their own people in their own communities. You can make that difference and bring in a new income line for this organization. Thank you. For the next slide. CANSA corporate volunteers. I mentioned the impact of cancer on an organization. We, and Cara will talk about it, have wonderful wellness programs. And it was only when we started with the wellness programs that corporates really realized what an impact cancer has on their workplace. We want to partner with corporates in their corporate social investment as well as their corporate social responsibility approach. Our CRM contracts are entered into on a national level to further enhance our income streams. So if you're a volunteer that have a product, we will gladly review it and look at the opportunity for you to sell that product to enhance our sustainability income. Our partners will always be carefully reviewed and selected based on our cancer values and our on-brand approach. Because remember, there are so many things that are carcinogenic or is actually seen as number one carcinogens. We want to ensure that we raise funds in a way that we never have to look back and say these funds were raised unethically. Last slide. Thank you, Emmanuel. CANSA ensures a sustainability focus to ensure that we can continue to fulfill our mission over time. And in doing so, meet the needs of our key stakeholders. Our key stakeholders are cancer survivors, the Nanikis. We can't do this without you. CANSA only have around 25 cancer staff members that is in the field driving the income that can support everything that enables us to reach out to our communities. Thank you to every volunteer that has taken hands with us. Some of you have been doing it for 40 years. Without you, we cannot do this. Thank you. Together, we can make a difference.
Thank you so much, Maria, for sharing with us and your time. Really appreciate it. I'd now like to hand everyone over to our fantastic unit manager, Dorothy Deploy of the Western and Southern Cape. She has also years of experience in the organization, and she's going to show you a bit of a different side where we're going to discuss about the nitty-gritty how to keep CANSA's wheels turning in all the areas. And Dorothy's going to give you a little bit more information about this and hopefully inspire you with some skills you might have that we could really benefit from. Thank you so much, Dorothy, and welcome.
To underpin services and sustainability, etc., we do need to keep track of what we are doing, how many people we are reaching, what money is coming in, etc. And for that, we need admin volunteers. And admin volunteers is sometimes the glue that holds the office together when everybody's out in the fact that we have in the field, we have patient services volunteers who double up as admin volunteers to be able to collect stats for us. Because as a non-profit organization, you have to report on what we're doing, with the funds we're getting in, and how we are achieving our goals. So I'm just going to show a slideshow of exactly the roles that admin volunteers. Admin volunteer is in achieving our objective of capturing what we say and what we do, because, you know, the auditors have a saying that if you don't prove, it actually didn't happen. So we have a responsibility to keep track of everything we do and everything we spend and everything we achieve in order to report back. Not also into communities and sponsors, etc., who year on year support us. And when we do reporting back to funders, we are able to pull out stats, and it is due to the fact that our admin structures is in place, etc. Next slide, please, Emmanuel. So what is the first, for volunteers interested in admin, we have the following opportunities. You know, the face of an office when you walk in is always your receptionist and a person at reception. And for that, we don't always have staff. We are thinly spread. We have staff that has to be out in the field. We do have receptionists that must take time off, go on leave, etc. And so our admin volunteer is key in keeping the office going and to assist at reception, man our switchboard, and at our front desk is also where patients walk in and they are requiring a wig. So our admin volunteer at reception are trained on wig fitting, issuing of medical equipment for walk-ins, people wanting wheelchairs, etc. Nutrimil, which is a nutritious supplement. Also, the reception is also the one place where somebody would call in to make an appointment to see a nursing sister, to find out when is the clinic, what day, etc. So the admin volunteer at reception is key in ensuring that the person calling and on. Then we also have volunteers assisting in our various departments. Next slide, please, Emmanuel. And assisting in the various departments is, we have a wonderful program called CANSA Online, which is a computerized program where we capture not only figures, but also stats. And so our admin volunteers are trained on the program, and it is a requirement that the admin volunteers are computer literate so that we can just train them on the various programs. They capture the stats. So when Cara has to pull out stats and Maria has to pull out stats from CANSA Online, they are able to do so because it is real-time capturing. The admin support is also important for our nurses who does corporate screenings, wellness days, community events, etc., to ensure that we keep our South African public healthy through our employee wellness program. So the admin volunteer assisting in the clinical or in the services program would assist with the equipment that the sister needs, sisters, and they will come in on the day to go out and do the screening. And so the admin volunteer is critical for is this, etc. So when they get to the workplace, etc., then everything is there. And then the admin volunteer also accompany the nurse to the event to ensure that all the paperwork is done, all the patients are captured, etc., to bring that back to the office. And then next slide, please, Emmanuel. Our care homes. We have 11 care homes throughout the country. Our care homes is a home away from home. When Cara does a presentation, she will touch on this. It's a home away from home for cancer patients from out of town that has to attend our major treatment centers in the big cities. And many times they are not ill enough to be in hospital, but they also don't have family living in town, and they can't travel in and out because of the fuel and because how sometimes they're not well after treatment, etc. And that is where our care homes come in. And our care homes are really needing admin support for this, a lot of paperwork for intake forms for the patient coming into the care home, loading of the patients on CANSA Online. We've got some care homes admit medical aid patients, and so the claiming from medical aid, etc., is important because the paperwork needs to be in place to be able to put claims through to medical aid. Our care homes have a care home coordinator or a care home assistant, and they've got to do month-end reports, stock taking, maintaining of those donations in kind. Donations in kind is a lot of individuals who walk into the care home and they provide us with various items that we would use in the care home, from food stuff to cleaning materials to food to donations to etc., to toothpaste, all the packs that we get for patients, and there's a monetary value to that. And so we have a donations in kind register where we acknowledge the person that brought in the donation and also do a thank you. And so that is critical for our auditing purposes. And then on the day the patients are discharged, the paperwork that needs to happen, the referral to the regional staff of cancer working in that region. So the care homes are really in need of admin support. Next slide, please, Emmanuel. Admin support. Our finance staff is really overwhelmed because we have one finance department having to service 3 provinces, and so they really need admin support because like a bank does, I'm sure you've been to a bank, you know, that they make hard copies of all the documentation, and that is because of being able to pull it out when you have an audit to be able to show. And should your computer crash, you also have hard copies. So we have to do a lot of printing of various documents to have it signed off. Check all the supporting documents that come in for check request, filing of payments, because we have to keep documents for at least 5 years. So filing it in sequence, etc., that takes a lot of time. Once a year, we get audited externally, and then in the middle of the year, we have internal audits, sometimes twice a year. And preparing the files for the auditors is a time-consuming job. We also have to shred documents that you can't leave lying around. You can't just send it to a waste company for them to use for making paper, etc. We have to shred the documents, and so after 5 years, there's a lot of shredding that needs to happen of legal documents, and that is where we need admin support for. Next slide, please, Emmanuel. So, in a nutshell, that is admin support. We do a lot of training. We will train you on all the processes in admin, depending on where you think you would fit in, be it you'd like reception, you like capturing and still have contact with the patients telephonically, have the patient walk in for a week fitting, you would like that type of contact, but not fully into patient care, which is what Cara will touch on. finance, if maybe you're a retired bookkeeper, you have time on your hands that you would like to volunteer in the finance department, at the care homes, because there you will have contact with the patients coming and staying there and just sharing their stories, etc. So we've got various levels of admin that you can get involved in, and we really trust that there will be a number of volunteers that would be wanting to get involved with admin. I thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dorothy, for sharing. But it's just so important to see the very many ways that you can take hands with us and really help us to make an active difference every day. So now we'll save the best for last then, as I'll wisely say. My manager, Cara Noble, the head of service delivery at CANSA. Welcome, Cara.
Thank you so much, Cara. Yes, Dr. Brenda, wonderful opportunity to celebrate International Volunteers Day. Thank you so much. And I think, Nikki, if there was no tears in person's eyes, that there must be a problem somewhere. When you presented and tell your story, it was so touching. Thank you so much. Now, if you don't, through the two presentations, see something that fit you as a potential volunteer or current volunteer for CANSA, I want to tell you more about the opportunities volunteering for CANSA as a patient volunteer. Now, I can divide it in three main topics. The one will be then, if you are interested in emotional support, there's definitely a need for people that can help us with that. Practical support, and also providing trusted information. So talking about emotional support, there's a lot of opportunity for people to share their skill set with our patients, with newly diagnosed patients, being it adults or children, but we can also support people throughout their journey, and also specifically during breaking of bad news. This type of support can also include sharing of CANSA's offerings, and therefore it is important that our volunteers need to exactly know what CANSA is offering. We do a wonderful training with volunteers, help them to understand and identify the emotional needs of patients, and also how to react towards these needs. We also provide information on all our offerings so that when you are helping and supporting somebody, you can really refer them wherever they need more help. But sometimes you just need to be there, to listen, and to show that you care. Now, emotional support can happen during oncology ward visits at hospitals. I will tell you a little bit more about that later. It can happen at home visits. Nowadays, more virtually through WhatsApp messages or phone calls, and just check in on patients and ask how they are. This can be also on an individual basis. We can provide emotional support to family and loved ones, or even in a support group. Next slide, Emmanuel. Yeah, unfortunately, the journey sometimes ends in the way that we need to also offer a bereavement support to families. And we know that volunteers can catch up in a situation that they don't feel equipped to do this. And then they can definitely refer these families or individuals also to our professional telecounseling services that's available in 7 languages. Next slide, Emmanuel. Our support groups give a wonderful opportunity for volunteers to get involved. They can facilitate local support groups for patients, families, or caregivers. And they also can source venues or speakers for a specific topic for these groups. They can recruit patients. They can tell patients, come and join this wonderful support group. Now, Nikki shared that with us, and that is a virtual support group that she joined. But fortunately, I think we do have those, but next year, we can also go on with our physical support groups that we have all over the country. And you know, small things like Dorothy mentioned, that volunteers can also help us with sourcing for refreshments at the meeting, and also find professional guests as speakers to help us on a monthly basis to drive these support groups. Next slide. Now, you know, sometimes people don't feel comfortable sharing these difficult emotional topics with patients. But there's also room for you who don't feel comfortable. You can come on board and help us with practical support. You know that CANSA provide care packs and food packs, and to do that, we need hands to pack it for us. We also need people that can source sponsors for these items and help us distributing them. They can also assist with assistive devices and medical equipment, prostheses and wig hire. And even if a volunteer can tell a patient, where can they get that, or refer them to the right resource, that will make a huge difference in the life of a patient. I don't know if a lot of you know that, but patients can also apply for a grant at the Department of Social Development, and we can also, through trained volunteers, help you to get to the right channels and make it easier for the patient then to apply for these grants. And when patients need religious support, we also need to know the resources, train our volunteers about what the resources are, so that they can refer patients or families then to various religious organizations for other type of support. We also have care rooms. I will tell you a little bit more about that. The care rooms is mostly situated in retirement villages or care home or old age homes or hospices. And in that specific room, we provide the opportunity for people that just need a breakaway or rest, looking after a sick patient for weeks. They can organize admission at the specific care room where professional people will support that patient for a while. Or specifically also for people that is in their last days and they need more clinical support, we can also then refer via our volunteers patients to this wonderful facility. Other practical support is to visit patients at hospitals. I will talk about this a little bit later because there are a few rules that we need to follow. But things like offer sandwiches and tea at oncology wards, and now during COVID, just drop it off at the reception, so that we in that way also show our support to our patients through this practical support. The next slide, please. Now, yeah, you can immediately see on this picture, touching your heart, you see a little one. And this is our TLC patient program, staff living with cancer. And there we also need practical support. And I must say that not all volunteers can do this. And we need volunteers with a very special skill set to work with sick children and dying children. So if this is talking to you today, listening to this wonderful opportunities, please contact us, make contact and offer your time and your expertise to the Cancer Association. Depending on the age of the child, the support may be focused, maybe rather on the parents and the guardians, or maybe the family members if the child is too young. There's also opportunity to go into hospital wards and wonderful educational programs. These children cannot go to school, and if you are a teacher or retired teacher and you want to help us, please come on board and become part of this wonderful volunteer opportunity. Volunteers can also run a parent or a caregiver support group for this specific TLC program. Or They can collect items for cancer, for our food and care packs, as I already said, put them together and help us then to support families also in a very practical way. In our September, help us in our Christmas and family parcel group. September is normally our International Childhood Cancer Month. So in these 2 months, September and then in December now, we really want to reach out in a practical way to our little ones and their families. So go and help us now. Phone the nearest office, our toll-free line that is available also, as Cara said, on our website, and be there for us to take hands. Help us educate and raise awareness of children's cancers in our communities. So important part of volunteering. The next slide, please. Now, I said, I mentioned a few times that you can visit patients, and therefore our volunteers or potential volunteers need their own transport. And volunteers also need to have, and listen now here, access or approval to enter hospital wards. Now, during COVID, there are specific rules and regulations, but in normal circumstances, we organize that for our volunteers so that they can enter the hospital wards and the treatment facilities to support in a very practical way, but also in the emotional way. Thank you. Next slide. I mentioned the care rooms. Here's a beautiful picture of one of our care rooms where patients can be referred to, and there the volunteers play a very important role because they can also help go visit, do practical things, just be there when the family members cannot be there. Sometimes the husband of the patient or the children of the patient is working, and this is an opportunity for our volunteers to be there, sit next to the bed of this patient. And when we also have professional volunteers assisting us, they can also advise on pain management. Thank you. Next slide. Now, cancer care home support. Dorothy mentioned that is a care home is our facility where patients can stay during their treatment, and they are a wonderful opportunity for volunteers to facilitate support groups. I think, Nikki, you touch everybody's heart when you shared how those people in a support group motivate you to go for treatment. So you can, as a volunteer, facilitating such a group really make a life-changing impact on the life of patients. You can also help us find donors and facilitate our monthly activities that we do have. We also have fun at our care homes. There's a wonderful video on our care homes also on our website, and you will see there that there's arts and crafts and painting and a lot of other activities. So we need volunteers to facilitate that. So if you see this is really talking to my heart, please go to our website or phone us on our toll-free line 0800 22 6622 and just say, I want to become a new volunteer for this wonderful organization. But you can also help us with other day-to-day activities in the care home. As Dorothy mentioned, there's a lot of admin that needs to be done, but also you can just go and sit, read for the patients, make sure that they're comfortable, because mostly they come more or less back at the care home at 2 o'clock in the afternoons, and then they're sometimes lonely. They just want to speak to somebody. You can also assist us with donors to fund and maintain our care homes, even helping cooking meals. If you are really fond of making wonderful meals, you can bring tea and snacks to the family and treat patients to the lovely afternoon tea with music. There's also play therapists that sometimes on a professional way, and music therapists offer their time to go to the patients at our care homes. So come on, we need you and help us then keep our beautiful care homes there for our patients. Next slide, please. Maria mentioned that we have wellness programs, and there we also need volunteers. So if you are the one that can do a professional talk, maybe help us with other information sessions, helping at exhibitions and other activations in your community, this is then where you can slot in. We will give you all the things that you need, training about sessions that is maybe asked for in a specific community, and also banners and information pamphlets. So just show your willingness to be part of this. Distribute pamphlets and posters wherever you go, and also at our mobile units in far-off rural areas, be available to educate our people while they're waiting to be to get their screening. Then, last but not least, we really need each and every volunteer. If you're now fitting in as an admin volunteer or being part of RELA as Ria, or whatever your interest may be, you can share and spread the word about CANSA's offerings and the services. You can even do it through social media and WhatsApp. Let people know that CANSA is there. Let people know that they can volunteer for this wonderful organization. So find opportunities for CANSA to educate people more through even media. You know, our community radio stations is so valuable. And if you are now listening to us and you are involved in a community radio station, invite our staff, invite our volunteers, let they tell them and the rest of the community more about CANSA's wonderful offerings. You can also become an editor on our CANSA Facebook pages and work behind the scenes as a volunteer. I just want to take this opportunity to say, on this wonderful International Volunteer Day, I want to thank all our current volunteers. You are really inspiring us. And I'm quite sure that through your work, you will also inspire other people to join us and to become a volunteer. And I also want to say I salute you and may you have a wonderful festive season. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cara. That wonderful presentation. I think what I'd also like to add from my side is that we don't want to forget about the virtual volunteers. And this is a group of people that are sometimes copywriters, can help us create new patient material, they can edit. Some people, for example, have said, give us the content, we'll help with your pamphlets, we'll help put your slideshows together for you. So there's also a lot of some marketing background work. If there are any copywriters or editors or people with design would love to help us, we always need help in that regard. And something that Brenda said earlier today as well, translation of material is massive for us. It is actually such a costly affair. And if there is anyone out there that feels they would be competent in translating some of our material into other languages, please don't be shy, please contact us. And again, just to remind you, it's www.cansa.org.za, as well as calling us on our info line at 0800 226622. Any queries or questions you might have, we should be able to assist you there. So thank you so much. And we'd like to do a poll now about what your experience is about the session. So it'll be in the comments now. And if you could just go and find it, you can click on it and then answer a few questions. And we'd love to have your feedback so that we can get some interesting feedback and decide how we can go forward and just see how you experienced this morning with us. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to just get on that. Should be in your comments now, the link. It's only about 5 questions, should be nice and quick. And a huge thank you from my side for the speakers for today. I think it's really so wonderful as a staff member as well, just also see how, I think it's hard not to see from our fantastic staff that are here that were so passionate and excited and proud of the work that we do in their presentations, as well as our fantastic volunteers with Brenda and Rian and Naniki sharing from their hearts. So We hope that you were touched today and should also love to be a part of something like this. We know that we could really do with your hands and love and support. So thanks so much. We'd like to go forward now. Thank you so much. We will give feedback on our social media about what the responses were on the poll. So thank you so much. That will remain in the comments, so you can go back to it. And thank you so much, everyone. We really, really are grateful for your time this morning. We do apologize for a few of the hiccups. What we do know is that this year of 2020 and the rise of social media and everything being virtual, technology has taught us a lot, and these bloopers are quite common. So thank you so much for bearing with us and spending your morning with us. We hope we touched you in some way. And for those of you that weren't on here earlier, we'd love to show you our volunteer video. We hope that you'll be inspired again. Please share it, please like it. And just like Rian said earlier, a friend of his took him to a CANSA event and introduced him to CANSA and said, listen, Rian, I think you can make a difference here. So we're taking your hand. We're inviting you to join us in some way. And if you are a CANSA volunteer, please take the hands of your families and friends and work colleagues and invite them. Let's get people talking. After this very difficult year, let's take hands, let's make a difference and know that we can do something more important that's bigger than ourselves. Have a wonderful Saturday and be blessed. Keep safe. Bye.
Kanker is 'n eensame siekte.
I was diagnosed 10 years ago with breast cancer.
Ek is in 1988 gediagnoseer met kanker.
I wasn't part of any support group at the time. I did not feel that I was ready to attend a support group.
Dit was vir my baie traumaties. Ek het heeltemal in ontkenning gewees daaroor.
People don't easily talk about cancer. Very much still a hidden subject.
One of the things that kills people is ignorance. They still don't understand what is going on. The only way we can reach out to as many people as possible is if we get as many volunteers as possible.
The Cancer Association of South Africa welcomes volunteers of all ages, all sizes, all cultures. The incidence of cancer is rising, so we need more volunteers to get involved.
Sometimes you can't change the situation, but making somebody smile even if they are in their worst, it makes me happy inside, let me just say so.
Elke mens het sekere behoefte daaraan om gehê te wil word, né? So as jy gehê wil word, moet jy jouself kan gee.
Many of our cancer survivors want to give back. They want to get involved.
Ek dink daar's nie 'n beter manier om jouself te gee as om vir iemand anders iets te beteken nie.
The journey that I've went through could be of assistance and guidance to others. I can relate to that, I can empathize with them, and also provide them with the opportunity to join a support group. Successful support group is when members say they actually feel they belong to a family. And they share their stories, and we laugh and we cry.
You get to meet different kinds of patients every time. You get those ones who are withdrawn, who don't want to talk. You get those ones who just want you to listen.
Dis vir my baie lekker om as ek by 'n pasiënt kom en hulle is bly om my te sien. Dan weet ek beteken vir hulle iets.
I think there's a definite need for volunteers.
There is a lot that needs to be done.
And we particularly welcome volunteers that will help raise funds. We cannot provide the service, the care and support that we do without raising extra funds. A lot of our volunteers get involved with our Cancer Shave-a-thon, or they get involved with Cancer Relay for Life. If you are keen on running or cycling, you can get involved with our Cancer Active program. And there's a lot of skills transfer. There's a lot of training and development that we provide for volunteers. And we'll be able to provide more screening to the public out there, which means that we're going to be lowering the risk of cancer.
It feels good because you're doing it from the heart.
En waar daar kindertjies betrokke is, Daai ouers het baie ondersteuning nodig. Hulle besef hulle gaan hulle kind verloor. So as daar nie volonteërs is om hulle te help nie, hoe gaan hulle regkom?
It gives you the confidence to actually say to the community, I can give something back. And it makes all the difference.